What's up everybody, Jason back again with another episode of Vendors where I get to sit down with the leading wedding industry professionals and have a one-on-one casual conversation and ask those questions that couples like you have all about your wedding planning process. And even better, to ask the questions that you don't even know to ask yet. Today I'm sitting down with Maggie Truppa out in beautiful Galena, Illinois at the Eagle Ridge Resort. Let's get today started. Maggie, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me, Jason.
So tell us who you are and what do you do?
My name is Maggie Truppa. I am the Senior Wedding Sales Manager here at Eagle Ridge Resort in Galena, and I help couples plan their weddings. So I meet with couples from the moment they have interest in booking their wedding at Eagle Ridge, and I take them throughout the entire planning process, and I'm here the day of their wedding.
Before we get into everything, because I have so many questions to ask just about that, but where is Eagle Ridge and what is it?
Eagle Ridge is a destination wedding location. We're in Galena, Illinois. Galena is the northwestern tip of Illinois, about 2.5 to 3 hours from Chicago. And we have 3 beautiful wedding venues. One of them is the Point Patio, where we're located overlooking Lake Galena. And we also have our Eagle Ballroom, which is our most popular wedding venue space. It holds up to 300 guests. It has beautiful views of the lake and the woodlands, and it has large floor-to-ceiling windows. And we also have our Galena rooms, which also overlook the lake. So we can accommodate weddings of various sizes, from smaller wedding groups up to 300 guests. A lot of our couples make an entire weekend out of their wedding because we are a destination wedding location without having to spend thousands on airfare and travel expenses.
How long have you worked at Eagle Ridge, and roughly how many weddings do you think you've worked?
This is my 3rd wedding season at Eagle Ridge, and I've worked with hundreds of couples to plan their wedding.
So listen up, people. She knows what she's talking about. Besides weddings, what other kind of events do you have here at Eagle Ridge?
We have a variety of events, including corporate gatherings, meetings, banquets, birthday parties, bridal and baby showers, holiday events. We have quite a few local companies that come for their holiday parties. So this is considered a destination location. We do have some local weddings as well, but quite a few events going on here. By
doing these other events, do you think it brings something to your wedding experience, like that you learn something to be better for each wedding?
Yes, definitely. Each event brings new experiences, new people, and a lot of times we actually have couples that will come back for their anniversary, or their family may have enjoyed their vacation here so much that they will make a family reunion out of it, or a yearly annual trip.
Now, it sounds kind of silly to ask, because I think anyone who's planning a wedding is looking at a venue first, but why does a couple need a venue for their wedding day?
Their venue is really going to determine everything about their wedding following afterwards.
Really?
A lot of times people will have an idea of what they want in mind for their wedding. Sometimes they won't even know that they would like to consider a destination wedding. So once they select their venue and know where they're going to be located, it will drive their vision, their color scheme, their vendors. They will probably look at local vendors. So once you select your venue and your time of year, that will definitely influence your timeline for the day and whether or not you're having your ceremony on property as well.
That's a good point. Okay, let's talk about that really quick.
Okay.
A lot of venues typically, when couples are thinking, they usually specialize in just the reception half. Now you deal a lot with the ceremony half as well. Can you talk about the things that go on that couples need to know about the ceremony as well as a venue?
Yeah. The majority of our couples that are having their reception here do also have their ceremony here, and that's just for the convenience of the location. And we host ceremonies both indoors and outdoors during our peak season, which would be May through September, October. We do host the majority of ceremonies outside here at the Point Patio, and then they generally will move inside to either the ballroom or our Galena rooms, or for smaller receptions that are about 130 or less, you can have your reception out here as well.
How far in advance should a couple be looking for a venue and booking with a venue?
If there's a particular month or date that the couple is interested in, the sooner they book, the better, just to ensure the availability.
Yeah.
September, October are very popular months for weddings, so if you are looking for a specific date or month, I would recommend at least a year, year and a half, even 2 years in advance. But if you're a couple that doesn't want to do all of the planning, doesn't need a ton of decor, they just want to book their date and have fun, or a little more flexible on the date, you could book as soon or wait as long as you would like. So we even have couples that will book just a couple months prior to.
Really?
A year to a year and a half is about average, but you're welcome to book sooner than that or see what short-term bookings we have available.
Wow, that's super short notice.
It is. We've done it.
I think talking about other vendors included in what the planning aspect is, I think it's most important to have the venue, because if you fall in love with a venue, it's easy to find the date then. Because if you fall in love with a date, it's harder to find the right venue because they might be booked up.
Exactly.
And then getting that date secured, getting the venue secured, then you can start looking for all your other vendors.
Right.
Because we can't hold a date that you don't have yet.
Exactly.
So I think a year, year and a half, and you even mentioned 2 years, I think is fantastic. And the more couples I work with, the more they are starting off about the 2-year mark.
Yes.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I think a lot of people have a negative stigma about a long engagement.
No. There's really so much that goes into the planning that the more time you have to plan, the less stressed you will end up being.
It is. It's so much less stress.
Yes.
I think if you're trying to plan it last minute, I think a lot of things will crop up that you don't see coming.
Exactly.
And that's why you should watch videos like this. When a couple is interviewing different venues, they're going to be sitting down, asking questions, going through the tours. But what are some good questions couples should be asking the venues?
So even prior to setting up your visit with the venue, check online or inquire with a wedding coordinator for if you have a specific date range that you're looking for. You don't want to waste your time checking on it. If you're open to different dates and flexible with that, then just go for it. Also, if there's a certain price range you want to stay within, double check their information prior to your visit. That way you'll know ahead of time if it fits within your budget.
Do you think most venues will give you like a package guide? Like if you email a venue and say like, do you have the date available? What's your price range? Will most venues be like, okay, here is our price range? Or do you think most people will be like, no, come in for a consultation first and then we'll talk about budget?
You know, it just depends on the venue and the location of the venue as well. Since we are located 3 hours from the city,
Right.
we do want our couples to know that information prior to them making a long trip out here if it doesn't fit within what they're looking for.
Right.
If you're looking at a venue that's within a city where there's more availability of different venues, they may not give you that information prior. They may just say, come in for a visit and we'll talk.
Yeah. So what other things should couples be asking besides date availability and budget?
So you should also ask what your venue supplies, and I'm sure they would tell you this on their site visit
okay.
with you. But see what they will provide. If they provide all of the tables, linens, chairs, silverware, if that's something that you would need to be providing. And if you're staying at a resort like we are here in Eagle Ridge, or any venue space that is also a resort, you'll want to inquire about the hotel room rates and any fairs or local events that are happening that particular weekend that may make availability a little tighter for your guests.
That is such a good point. I was talking to a planner and she brought that up about traveling on a wedding day, knowing the different fairs and events that are going on. But I did not even think about lodging. That's a fantastically important aspect of that.
So also ask about anything that is significant and important to you. For example, pet friendliness, handicap accessibility, any special dietary restrictions. You should always ask those if there's something that is specifically important to you, and make sure that your venue can accommodate.
Now, Eagle Ridge does their own catering?
Yes, we do.
That's cool. Is that normal for venues to handle their own catering?
Honestly, it varies so much. There are some venues that do and some that don't. Generally, resorts do provide their own catering since they have their own kitchen, and they also have restaurants that are attached. And we do provide all of our own in-house catering, which makes it easy for our couples.
When a couple is done asking these questions, and you should never be done asking questions, you should always ask
Right.
questions, because any vendor is going to go out of their way to help you. When you're sitting down and you find the venue of your dreams and you're so happy and you look over the contract, what are some things couples should be aware of when they're looking at those contracts?
You should be aware of any food and beverage minimums that would apply. Those may vary from day to day, from season to season, so that's something you should be aware of. For a hotel and a resort like we are, you should be aware of the room rates that would be applied for your guests and any room blocks. And you should also be aware of the check-in and check-out times. The check-in times may even help determine your wedding timeline and the time that your ceremony and reception start. You should also be aware of any payment due dates, such as the date that the contract is due, the deposit, and any payments along the way, such as the 50% payment and the final payment.
I think a big issue that most couples should be aware of is a plan B, especially when you have a venue like this where your ceremony is, most of the time, the times I've shot here, is outdoors.
Yes.
What is your backup plan in case it's raining?
Even if it is raining out here, we do have a tent that we can close it up and still have our couples beneath the tent and still have their ceremony out here. We'll take care of your guests and get them to and from the indoor venue. We would make sure that we have a plan B in place for you. And that's a call we like to make at least 24 hours ahead of time, so that way we can set it up properly the way that you expect and you don't have to be thinking about it.
And something I always talk about on here is that things do go wrong on a wedding day, and that's okay. Because the more you can let go and just be like, this is my wedding day, I'm getting married today to the love of my life, things are gonna be amazing.
That's true.
So, and if you put your trust in your vendors, we have your best value in mind. We wanna take care of you. We wanna make sure you go home that night and go, that was the best day of my life, all around. Yeah. So I think any vendor is gonna go out of the other way for you for that. So how does your pricing structure work?
We price our packages per person, so it's based on the couple's final guest count. Now your guest count will fluctuate throughout the entire planning process, and that's okay. We just need your final guest count around 2 to 3 weeks prior to your wedding.
Okay.
So our per person pricing, that includes the bar, the appetizers, the entrees. We also include wedding cake in our per person package. So we like to make it easy for our couples. You can customize it more. However, you can just come in and select the package you want and not have to think any more than that. And we'll do the work for you.
So I think before we get to the price of a venue and
Okay.
Eagle Ridge specifically, let's talk about everything that goes on before the wedding day even starts.
Okay.
And I think a lot of couples, when they're pricing things out and they're budgeting, they look at, okay, well, we're only going to be there for 6 hours. So how much does 6 hours cost?
Right.
There's a lot more that goes into that.
Right.
Tell me everything that leads up to the wedding day that needs to be done that the couple might not even know about.
So once a couple has booked their wedding, they will come in for their tasting where they will sample different entrees, types of food. It's a lot of fun.
It's the best part. Absolutely best part.
It is. It's a great time, and it's also a great time where you're building a relationship with your wedding coordinator. They get to know you, you get to know them. You can bring your parents, your friends. That way, you're really building that strong relationship with them. From there, we will then take all of your information, all of your selections, and create what is called a banquet event order. And that will keep track of everything that we talked about, all of your decisions, your meal choices, any special dietary needs, your timing, your everything that's involved in your ceremony and reception. And from there, we'll also have your floor plans and your estimate created. We'll explain the floor plans and the estimate to you. Again, these are things that can change even up until 2 weeks prior to your wedding. Now, in between that time, we will be in communication, and you're welcome to email us, call us, stop in and visit anytime and discuss any questions or changes you may want to make. About 2 to 3 weeks prior to your wedding, that's when you'll really be getting all of your RSVPs back and in a lot of communication with your wedding coordinator. So we create a seating chart for you to keep track of your guests and their meal selections and the table number that you assign them. Then we go over all of the final details, any special dietary needs, the time that you're coming in, and we talk about decor and any items that you may have rented. We also get in touch with all of your other vendors, so photographers, videographers, DJs, musicians, any rentals you may be getting. We contact them and talk about the load in, load out times. We let them know the time frame that you have planned and selected, so that way everyone's on the same page. And then on the wedding day and rehearsal day beforehand, we're here for you. We go through the rehearsal. If you're having a rehearsal dinner with us, we'll be here for you, helping you along with that. And day of the wedding, if you're having your ceremony on site, we are here right up until you walk down the aisle. And then we're here throughout the reception and checking that you're having fun.
That's a lot of work. That's a lot of work that goes into one day, and just from one vendor. What is Eagle Ridge's average price for a wedding?
We have a few different packages, but our average package is either $89 or $99 a person. And what that includes is your 4-hour super premium open bar. It also includes the entrees that you select, as well as the entire cocktail hour, so your hors d'oeuvres and your cocktails. And we also, if you are having a ceremony on site, there is a ceremony fee and a venue rental fee. And what that would cover would be your ceremony, your setup, your wedding coordinator. They will run your rehearsal as well. We also provide a wireless microphone for your officiant, podium and microphone for readers, and all tables, chairs, linens, glassware. So you don't need to bring anything in if you don't want to. Anything that you would want to bring into Eagle Ridge would just be any decor that you chose to provide. You can come in the day of your wedding with nothing but yourself and your wedding dress and be ready for your wedding day. We do include wedding cake with our packages as well.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
My favorite part of a wedding day, as you can tell. So with that price in mind, where does that money go? Obviously, it's not just one person getting that money. What goes into making that wedding day happen?
So the per person pricing, that will be counting towards your food, your alcohol, that will pay for your servers, your banquet staff, the setup, the use of our tables and chairs, linens, laundry.
The cleaning of linens.
Cleaning, yes, exactly, yes. And also for the wedding coordinator who will be running your ceremony and reception.
Not to mention the overhead of the establishment itself, the businesses of itself, the insurance that you have to provide, and a world of other things.
Right.
So there's a lot that goes into it. You've been doing this for a while now, so what are some of your favorite, proudest moments while working in the wedding industry?
Every time that I am helping a wedding couple with their ceremony, seeing them walk down the aisle will get me every time. Right. Everyone is unique, and it's just really exciting to see someone that I've worked with for a year, 2 years, getting ready to walk down the aisle and marry the person that they love. So that is really exciting for me. Also, when I see couples coming back for their anniversary, or for a family visit and stopping in to say hello and just reminiscing about their wedding. And that really makes me feel good too. And you don't even realize it, but as a wedding coordinator, you are a part of their wedding. And that's very, very significant for me.
My mentor, when I was first starting doing film, my mentor told me that as much as it's our job to do the creative aspects, to make the movie itself, almost more so, our job is to fix the problems that do arise. So he used to call it fixing the fuck up. When you're fixing an issue, no matter how much you plan your wedding day, down to the detail, something's gonna go wrong, and that's okay.
Yes, it is.
Can you give us an example of how you fixed problems that have arose?
Driving 3 hours from home, come to Galena and realize you forgot a box of decorations. It's okay. We'll work with what we have. We'll see what we can get. Maybe we can improvise, but don't worry about it. Don't stress about it. We'll make use of what we have. Sometimes you'll find that maybe the guest list doesn't match your place cards, and there may be an extra guest at this table and one less at that table, or maybe someone that you didn't know was able to attend will show up on the day of your wedding. We'll take care of it. Just don't stress.
As a venue, and I think most of the vendors I talk to are boutique businesses, so they only deal with like one wedding per day or per weekend. You're a little bit different. You have a venue, you have a large venue. How do you handle multiple bookings?
So we may have more than one event taking place, whether it's more than one wedding or a corporate group, a meeting, family reunion. However, we plan those very carefully, and we work very well with a team of people for both corporate and weddings. And we'll make sure that our timelines are not overlapping. We'll talk with each other and make sure that there isn't music or sound that will be interrupting to the other group. And we also speak with the kitchen to be sure that they're aware of the different catering needs. So you will be assigned a specific coordinator for your wedding, and you don't have to even think about anything else that's going on. It's good to be aware and ask if there are any other events, but just be assured that your wedding will go exactly as you planned and there will not be any interference, even if there is another event taking place.
If someone wanted to get a venue like Eagle Ridge, but they couldn't afford the initial price, is there ways that they can fit it into their budget?
Yeah, there definitely are ways you can accommodate your budget. Our winter wedding packages are really a great way to save. And it's something to consider even if you initially are not keen on a winter wedding. Our winter packages are actually run through November through April. So it's April right now, and this is still considered our seasonal winter package. And it's very beautiful outside.
Okay.
So this package starts at a lower price point per person. It starts at $72 a person. Still includes meals, cocktail hour, and a 4-hour open bar. Another way to save is to book your wedding on a Friday or a Sunday if that's an option for you. We do have lower room rentals, food and beverage minimums on those days as well.
Maggie, thank you so much for being with us today and educating us and exploring everything that we need to know about venues. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much for having me, Jason.
If someone were so inclined to reach out to you, to talk to you, ask you questions, or even to book with you, what's the best way they can reach you?
You're welcome to either call me or email me. My phone number is 815-776-5281, and you'll see my email address on the screen. If you go to eagleridge.com, you'll find the weddings tab, and you can see some of our photos and our wedding packages as well, and you can email to inquire for more.
Perfect. Maggie, again, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Jason. It's been great talking with you.
We hope this episode of Vendors helps you on your wedding planning. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe, and to share to make sure you and your fellow planning couples don't miss a single episode. If you enjoyed watching this video, be sure to check out our entire conversation in the podcast. And be sure to check out all of our episodes about these amazing wedding industry professionals. We'll see you next time on Vendors. Vendors is produced and edited by Night Owls Media. More information can be found at nightowlsmedia.com.